Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. You are listening to Pod Studio, the place where we talk about life, language, and everything in between. I'm Alex.
And I'm Emma. We are so happy you've joined us today. Grab a cup of tea or maybe go for a walk while you listen. We want this to be a relaxing space for you.
Exactly. Today, we're talking about something that I think everyone feels at some point. We're talking about how to stay calm when everything feels uncertain.
That's a big word, Alex. Uncertain. For our friends listening, when we say something is uncertain, it just means we don't know what will happen next. It's like looking into a foggy window and not being able to see the street.
That's a great way to put it. Uncertainty is that feeling in your stomach when you aren't sure about your job or your move to a new city, or even just what next week looks like. It's a very common feeling in real life, especially lately.
It really is. And it can be scary. But the goal of today's episode of Pod Studio is to help you find ways to feel a little more grounded. That's another good word. To feel steady, like your feet are firmly on the floor.
I love that. So let's just dive in. Relax, listen to the flow of the English, and don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Just stay with us. But before we start, if you want more fun English podcasts like this, hit the subscribe button right now and join our English learning family.
It really helps us grow. So, Alex, let's be honest. When was the last time you felt like things were totally uncertain?
Oh, wow. Probably a few months ago. I was thinking about changing my career path. I've been doing the same thing for years, and I started wondering, is this it? Should I try something else? But the moment I thought about leaving, I got nervous. I didn't have a plan B.
A plan B. That's a classic expression. It means a backup plan, right? Like if the first idea fails, you have a second one ready.
Exactly. And I had no plan B. I just had a lot of questions. I couldn't sleep well. I kept thinking about the future, but the future felt like a big, empty space.
I think that's why people hate uncertainty. Our brains like to know the ending of the story. When we don't know the ending, we start to imagine the worst things possible. We call that catastrophizing.
That's a long word, catastrophizing. It sounds like catastrophe, which is a disaster. So it means thinking a small problem is a huge disaster?
Precisely. For example, if your boss says, "Can we talk tomorrow?" and you immediately think, "Oh no, I'm going to lose my job, I'll have no money, and I'll have to live in a tent." That is catastrophizing. You are jumping to the worst possible result.
I do that all the time. If my phone rings at an odd hour, I think something is wrong, but usually it's just a wrong number or a friend calling to say hi.
We all do it. So how did you handle that career stress? How did you stop your mind from running away with those scary thoughts?
Well, I tried something I heard on a podcast, not Pod Studio, a different one. I tried to focus on the here and now. It's a very common phrase in English. It just means the present moment. Not yesterday, not next year, just right now.
That sounds simple, but it's actually really hard to do. How do you actually focus on the here and now when you're worried about next month's rent?
I started small. I told myself, okay, Alex, right now, in this second, are you okay? And the answer was usually yes. In that moment, I was sitting in a chair, I had a cup of coffee, and I was safe. By focusing on the physical things around me, the big, scary future felt a little further away.
That's actually a technique people use for anxiety. They call it grounding. You look for 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, and so on. It pulls you out of your head and back into your body.
It really helped. But Emma, you're usually the calmest person I know. Do you ever feel like the world is too much to handle?
Oh, Alex, you would be surprised. I might look calm on the outside, but inside, I can be a mess. Last year, when I was moving to this new apartment, everything went wrong. The movers were late, the keys didn't work, and I didn't know if I had made a mistake moving here.
So what did you do? Did you panic?
I did panic for about 10 minutes. I sat on my suitcase and cried a little bit, and you know what? That's okay. Sometimes staying calm doesn't mean you never feel human emotions. It just means you don't stay in that feeling forever.
That's a really important point. Being calm isn't a superpower where you never feel human emotions. It's more about how you respond to those emotions.
Exactly. After I cried, I told myself, "Okay, Emma, You are overwhelmed. That's a great word for our listeners. Overwhelmed. It's when you have too much of something. Too much work, too much noise, or too much stress. It feels like a big wave is hitting you.
I feel overwhelmed every Monday morning when I look at my emails. It's like a mountain of text.
Right. So when I felt overwhelmed on my suitcase, I decided to take it one step at a time. This is a phrase we use when a task feels too big. You don't look at the whole mountain, you just look at your feet and take one step.
So instead of thinking about the whole move, you just thought about what? Finding the right key?
Exactly. I thought, step one, call the landlord about the key. I didn't think about the boxes or the kitchen or the money, just the key. Once the key worked, I thought, step two, find a place to buy a sandwich.
I like that. It makes the big uncertainty feel like a series of small, manageable tasks. Manageable. That means something you can handle, right? Something that isn't too difficult?
Yes, something you can control, because that's the real problem with uncertainty. We feel like we have no control, but you can always control the next 5 minutes.
You know, I've noticed that when I'm stressed about the future, I spend a lot of time on my phone. I scroll through social media or read the news, and honestly, it makes me feel 10 times worse.
Oh, the doom scrolling. Have you heard that word?
Doom scrolling? No, but I can guess what it means. Doom is like a very bad ending or a dark fate. So, scrolling through bad news?
You got it. It's when you keep scrolling through your phone, reading one bad story after another. It's like food for your anxiety. It makes the uncertainty feel even bigger because the whole world seems like it's in trouble.
I'm definitely guilty of that. I think I'm looking for answers, but I'm actually just looking for more things to worry about.
We all do it because we think information will make us feel safe. But too much information, especially negative information, actually makes us feel more out of control.
So what's the fix? Do we just throw our phones in the trash?
Well, that's one way, but maybe a bit too much. I try to set boundaries. A boundary is like a fence. It's a limit. I tell myself I can check the news for 10 minutes in the morning, and then I'm done. No news before bed.
That's a smart move. I find that if I read the news right before sleep, I have these very strange, stressful dreams. My brain can't turn off.
It's because you're giving your brain uncertainty right when it's trying to rest. Instead, I try to do something low stakes.
Low stakes. I love that expression. Let's explain that. Stakes are like the things you can win or lose in a game. So if a game is high stakes, you could lose a lot. But low stakes means it doesn't really matter?
Exactly. A low-stakes activity is something relaxing where nothing bad can happen if you fail, like knitting or coloring in a book or playing a simple game on your phone that isn't about the news.
Or cooking a simple meal. Even if the pasta is a little overcooked, it's not a disaster, it's low stakes. It's a way to feel like you are doing something successful without the pressure.
Exactly. It gives your brain a win. And when you feel like you're winning at something small, the big, uncertain things in life feel a little less heavy.
I mentioned something earlier about talking to your landlord. It made me think about how important it is to talk to people when we feel this way. I usually go quiet when I'm stressed. I hide.
I'm the opposite. I talk too much. I call my mom, my sister, my best friend. I think I need to hear someone else tell me, Emma, it's going to be okay.
Is that helpful for you, or does it just make you talk about the problem more?
It depends on who I call. If I call someone who is also feeling stressed, we just make each other more worried. We call that an echo chamber. You know, like an echo in a large room where the sound just bounces back at you.
So if you're worried and they're worried, the worry just gets louder and louder.
Exactly. But if I call someone who is a bit more level-headed, someone who stays calm and thinks logically, they can help me see the situation differently. They help me realize that I've been through hard times before and I survived.
That's a really good point to remember. We all have a 100% success rate of getting through our bad days. You're here, I'm here, our listeners are here. We have all survived 100% of the uncertain times in our past.
That's a great way to look at it. I've never thought about it as a success rate. That makes me feel like a champion.
You are a champion, and so is everyone listening. Think about it. Learning a new language, like English, is full of uncertainty. You don't know if you're using the right word. You don't know if people will understand you. It can be very stressful.
That is so true. I remember when I was learning French, I would go into a bakery and my heart would beat so fast. I was so uncertain about my grammar. I was afraid the baker would laugh at me.
And did they?
Of course not. They just wanted to sell me bread. I realized that most of the uncertainty was just in my head. The reality was much simpler.
I think that applies to a lot of things. We spend 90% of our time worrying about things that never actually happen. There's a famous quote about that, I think. Something like, "I have suffered many disasters in my life, most of which never occurred."
I love that. It's so true. We suffer in our imagination more than we suffer in real life.
So let's talk about some practical things. If someone is listening right now and they are feeling that fog of uncertainty, maybe about their job, their health, or their family, what is the first thing they should do?
I think the first thing is to acknowledge it. To acknowledge means to say, yes, this is happening. Don't try to fight the feeling. Don't tell yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. Just say, I am feeling uncertain right now, and that's okay.
That makes sense. It's like if you're lost in the woods. The first step to getting found is admitting that you're lost. If you keep walking and pretending you know where you are, you'll just get more lost.
Exactly. Admitting it takes the power away from the fear. And then I always recommend a brain dump.
A brain dump? That sounds messy.
It's actually very clean. You take a piece of paper and a pen and you write down every single thing you are worried about, no matter how small. I'm worried about the economy. I'm worried I forgot to water my plants. I'm worried I'm not good at my job.
I've done this. It's amazing how much better you feel when the thoughts are on the paper instead of spinning around in your head like a washing machine.
Exactly. Once they are on paper, you can look at them and ask, which of these things can I actually do something about today?
Right. You can't fix the global economy today. That's an out-of-my-control item. But you can water your plants.
Exactly. And once you water the plants, you feel a tiny bit of control returning to your life. It's all about those small wins.
I also find that routine helps. When the big things are uncertain, I try to make the small things very certain. I eat breakfast at the same time. I walk the dog at the same time. It's like a rhythm.
A rhythm is a great word. It's a pattern. Having a pattern tells your brain, look, some things are still the same. The sun came up, I had my tea, the world is still turning.
It's funny how much we rely on those little habits. I notice that if I skip my morning coffee, my whole day feels off.
Off. That's a common way to say something isn't quite right. I'm feeling a bit off today. It doesn't mean you're sick necessarily, just that you don't feel like your usual self.
Yeah, exactly. And when the world feels uncertain, it's very easy to feel off. But those routines act like an anchor. You know what an anchor is, right? The heavy metal thing that keeps a ship from floating away.
I do. That's a beautiful image. Your routine is your anchor in a stormy sea of uncertainty.
We're getting very poetic today, Emma.
Maybe a little, but I think people need that. They need to know that it's okay to feel a bit lost sometimes.
You know, another thing that helps me is helping someone else. It sounds strange because when you're stressed, you feel like you have no energy. But if I do something small for a neighbor or a friend, I stop thinking about my own problems for a while.
That is a very powerful tool. In English, we sometimes call this getting out of your own head. When you focus on someone else's needs, your own worries don't seem quite as loud.
It could be something as simple as sending a text to a friend saying, "Hey, I was thinking of you. I hope you have a good day."
And then they text back and say, thanks, I really needed that today. And suddenly you feel like you've done something good. You've made a positive change in the world, even if it was just a tiny one.
It's all about the tiny things. I think we make the mistake of trying to solve the big problem of uncertainty all at once. But uncertainty isn't a problem to be solved. It's a situation to be lived through.
That's deep, Alex. A situation to be lived through. I think we often forget that life has always been uncertain. We just didn't notice it as much before.
True. We think we have a plan, but plans change all the time. Being able to go with the flow is a really useful skill.
Go with the flow. This is one of my favorite expressions. It comes from the idea of a river. If you try to swim against the water, you get tired and you don't get very far. But if you relax and let the water carry you, you save your energy.
I struggle with that. I want to be the one driving the boat, not just floating in the water. I like to be in charge.
Most people do, especially people who are very organized. But sometimes the best thing you can do is say, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm going to be okay with that.
How do you actually become okay with not knowing? That feels like the hardest part.
For me, it's about trust. Not necessarily trust in a big religious way, though for some people it is, but trust in myself. I trust that if a problem comes up, I will figure out a way to handle it, because I've done it before.
So it's building confidence in your future self. You're saying, I don't know what the problem will be, but I know that future Alex is a smart guy and he will find a solution.
Exactly. Future Alex has your back. You don't need to solve tomorrow's problems with today's energy.
I love that. Don't solve tomorrow's problems with today's energy. I'm going to write that down. That's a great piece of advice for our listeners.
It's helped me a lot. I used to spend all night worrying about a meeting I had on Thursday. By the time Thursday came, I was too tired to even speak in the meeting. I had wasted all my energy on what-ifs.
What ifs? We use that as a noun sometimes, don't we? I'm stuck in the what ifs.
Yes. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if it rains? It's a never-ending list.
My mom always used to say, don't cross that bridge until you come to it. It's a classic English idiom. It means don't worry about a problem until it actually happens.
It's such good advice, but so hard to follow. We are all standing a mile away from the bridge, staring at it and worrying if it's strong enough, instead of just enjoying the walk toward it.
Exactly. And sometimes when you finally get to the bridge, you realize there's a different way across the river anyway, or the bridge is perfectly fine.
Or there is no river.
Exactly. So we've talked about a lot of things today. We've talked about grounding ourselves in the present, taking things one step at a time, avoiding doom scrolling, and trusting our future selves.
And let's not forget the importance of a good routine. Even just a simple morning coffee can be a powerful tool to stay calm.
And being kind to ourselves. I think that's the most important part. If you're feeling anxious or uncertain, don't be angry with yourself for feeling that way. It's a natural human reaction.
Totally. It's like the weather. You wouldn't be angry at the sky for being cloudy, would you? You just grab an umbrella and keep going.
That's a perfect analogy. Uncertainty is just a bit of cloudy weather in our lives. It doesn't mean the sun has disappeared forever. It's just behind the clouds for a moment.
And eventually, the wind will blow, the clouds will move, and things will feel clear again. They always do.
They always do. This has been such a nice chat, Emma. I actually feel a lot calmer just talking about it with you.
Me too, Alex. That's the power of sharing these feelings. When we talk about them, they don't feel so heavy anymore.
I hope our listeners at Pod Studio feel the same way. If you're listening and you're going through a time of uncertainty, just remember you're doing great.
You really are. Just take a deep breath, maybe listen to this episode again if you need a reminder that you aren't alone.
Definitely. We are all in this together. And speaking of being in things together, Emma, I think we are almost at the end of our time for today.
Time flies when you're having a good conversation. It feels like we just started.
It really does. But before we go, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned in to this episode of Pod Studio. Your support means so much to us.
It really does. We love hearing that these conversations help you with your English and maybe make your day a little bit brighter.
We'll be back soon with another topic to help you learn and grow. In the meantime, try to focus on the here and now.
And don't forget to water your plants, or whatever your low-stakes task is today.
Good advice. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Keep practicing, keep listening, and stay calm.
See you next time at Pod Studio. Bye!
Bye-bye.